Hello everybody and welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. Today we are starting the trial, the first trial of the final case. We're gonna try to prove Steelwind innocent. Also, her father's prosecuting her because he's a bum. Let's get started. Tyrion, we're definitely lost. We followed the Grand General's directions to the letter. We were expecting to arrive at some sort of noble estate or convention hall. Instead, we found ourselves in the ruins of a long, forgotten city. The grass was overgrown, moss was growing around the ruins. It looked like no one had lived here for centuries. I double-checked everything. The map even has that giant tree north of here. This can't be this can't be the city of Lawton that Virgil mentioned. What the fuck? I can't speak English. This is your fault, Tyrion. I lost the ability to speak languages because of you. How dare you? It doesn't look like anyone's lived in here for centuries. Wait a minute. Did he just give us the wrong location on purpose? Grand General, enough gawking. The trial will commence shortly. He wasn't alone either. A division of the Kingsguard was marching behind him, forming a perimeter around Arya. It was difficult to tell if she was their liege or their prisoner. A grey luminous sphere was centered on the prosecutor, following her as they made their way to one of the ruins. It had the same color as most abjuration spells. Must have been an anti-magic field. So this is where we'll be hosting the trial? Yes. The Archduke could never bring himself to stray far from this place for too long. I doubt a normal courtroom would be large enough anyway. What? Kingsguard, bring the prisoner to the temple. I will have words with Mr. Cuthbert. Alone. That includes you, McCoy. I am not leaving you alone with him. Celeste, it's fine. But I can handle him. Just stay close by. Her jaw tightened as she shifted around uneasily. Nevertheless, she stepped aside without any objections. No wonder she's so insubordinate. You keep such a loose leash around her. Motherfucker. What? Go fuck yourself. What do you want, Lucio? The Archduke allowed you to serve as Prosecutor Steelwind's attorney, yes? I guess I earned his trust somehow. Cuthbert, do you remember what I told you after Dracogan's trial? You are now going to be my agent. What? I say what a lot here in this game. There will come a day when I will require your skills and abilities. The Eye of Radiance is too powerful a weapon for me to squander. I imagine it will be of greater use to me. There's a hair on my phone screen. You will now be acting on my orders. If you think I'd even consider throwing the trial for, I will come at you with everything I have. Use your Eye of Radiance. Use every trick Timora taught you. No matter who lies before you, cut them down. I will not accept a victory without a proper fight from you. So what is this to you, some kind of duel? Your daughter's life hangs in the balance, Lucio. Follow my orders or I'll have you executed. Your Honor, the prosecution just threatened to kill me. I just glared at him as he made his way towards the temple. The ruins were filled with the nobles who were at the Grand Cathedral that day. This temple was ancient. It was basically falling apart. Moss had grown into every crevice, insects were crawling everywhere, I even spotted a few rats at some point. The nobles present looked like they wanted to flee as far from this place as possible, but the King's Guard blocked anyone who tried to leave. The Grand General's expression was blank but focused. He was acting like nothing was out of the ordinary. He'd taken his position at the opposite end of the room. It seemed that he truly planned on prosecuting his daughter.
Thank you all for coming here today. I appreciate your cooperation with our investigation.
Why have you brought us here? This place is disgusting.
What happens here today must be kept away from prying eyes. I hope I don't need to remind you whatever happens here today must never be discussed. But nevertheless, I welcome you all to my home.
Wait, you live here?
I do. Your Grace, is this truly what you wish to do? There will be no going back after this.
What?
I've made many mistakes in my lifetime. I gave Wyvern God the means to protect themselves, but grew better having seeing what I created. I thought my best course of action was to stay in isolation and leave Wyvern God to fend for itself. I see now what a fool I was. I abandoned my kin to survive in an unjust world, and now foreign powers have ingrained themselves in my kingdom, all because of my negligence.
Foreign powers? Did he still suspect me of being an agent of the theocracy?
Well, no more. It's time that the people of Wyvern God and their enemies remember who watches over them.
He raised his hand, magical light gathering in his palm. The room began to shake more violently with every moment. It was as if he were commanding an earthquake. I normally couldn't sense aether like Celeste and Aster, but even I could feel the massive energy in the room coalescing around him. What's going on? Several nobles in the gallery screamed in terror. Some fell to the ground. Whatever spell he was casting was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. A blinding light flooded into the room. I had to shield my eyes. But as the light faded, I finally saw it. I finally saw him in his true form.
Hello there.
What?
It's a dragon!
The gallery broke out into hysteria. Some of them kneeled in reverence to the ancient dragon. Some simply fell to the ground and cowered. I even saw some of them attempt to flee before they were shoved back by the knights guarding the exits. Oh, hell yeah. He doesn't say order, he says enough.
This may not be a court, but I will have order.
An ancient dragon! No, you're the last ancient dragon.
That is correct, Heavensborn. I'm the first Lord of Wyvern God and descendant of the god of war, Ares, I'm Rothalion, the Scaled Lord.
Rothalion, occupation Scaled Lord, age 1203, the Scaled Lord and the creator of all arcane magic. I'd only known from legends until this moment, I can hardly believe that ancient dragons actually exist.
Ramus Virgile is an alias I assume when I walk amongst your kind. Until now, only the lords of House Steelwind and the kings of Wyvern God have known my true identity, but I will hide no longer. My will alone will determine how this trial ends.
According to these legends, dragons can't die of old age. Presumably, he'd still be alive. I wouldn't be surprised. Despite everything, his kingdom includes him. The kingdom includes him in our constitution. Wait, really? As the savior of our kingdom, he and his kin were given an honorary position in our kingdom.
The skilled Lord made Wyvern Guard what it is today. He was given authority that befits such a legacy.
You're the only individual with the authority to convict any and all of the nobles here.
Make no mistake, Mr. Cuthbert. I will remain impartial regardless of what transpires here. I will not interfere in this trial, nor will I manipulate its outcome. I will only mediate its proceedings, and pass judgment when necessary. Even in my human form, I have always had the strength of an ancient dragon.
Well, that's certainly terrifying.
Now then, with the introductions out of the way, shall we proceed?
Of course, Your Grace.
The prosecution is ready.
Dragons aside, this was like any other trial. The defense is also ready.
I'm sure we're all thoroughly aware of why we've gathered here, but for the sake of doing this properly, could you please list the charges, Lucio?
The defendant, Arya Steelwind, is charged with several counts of manslaughter. The victims include many knights from the King's Guard who remain unresponsive. And of course, there's Lloyd von Sanctus and Coraline Sybil, the Duke of Carmos, and the Minister of Justice, respectively.
What is this farce? This trial's been over before it began. Lady Steelwind clearly overestimated herself. Even a child knows to be wary of maid plot. No, don't you see? This is Bahamut's judgment. The divine powers that clearly think she is unfit to rule at the king's side.
Might I remind the court of my own testimony? I witnessed Beatrice Frege enter the prayer room before I lost consciousness. Isn't it suspicious that this occurred around 15 minutes before Pierce's death?
Objection!
You only caught a glimpse of her. You don't know if it's someone else disguised in an illusion. You didn't even speak to her. That's all the more reason to call her to the stand to explain herself. Also, that's even if it is somebody disguised in an illusion. What's her face? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name. Arya. Still, she didn't have any traces of illusion magic on her. So, fuck you.
She has already testified that she has no memories of what transpired during the massacre. There is no need to drag this out any longer than necessary, Cuthbert.
My client has a right to a fair trial, and Beatrice's involvement clearly implies some greater plot.
Enough. I find Mr. Cuthbert's request to be reasonable. I agree that Lady Frege's actions are quite suspect.
Very well. Let the defense have its battle.
I only hope for his sake that his blade strikes true.
Why does this man get to point at things, but I don't? Why is everything a combat metaphor with you? Beatrice. I'm glad you're safe, Mr. Cuthbert. Not for the lack of trying on your part. I have no memories of what I did. If I hurt you, I am truly sorry. She actually looked pretty sincere, but it wasn't as if this were the first time she's lied to me. To be honest, I'm still a little doubtful about your memory loss. I'm not the only one who experienced it. Arya also lost her memories of what happened.
And how would you know that?
Regardless, if you truly have no memories of what happened, could you testify about what you do remember? Very well. No! I was with my sisters and my guide, Eris Inmater. Okay. I'll be right back. I am back. I was speaking with them in the garden. when I suddenly felt ill and lost consciousness. Like Rathalion in the background there. Also, this courtroom is the courtroom in the title screen. When I woke up, my sisters found me. They said that I had gone missing for over an hour. I was confused, but then when I later heard what happened, I realized that someone must have taken control of my body. I have no memories of what happened. And from what I understand, the same thing happened to Arya. And to make matters worse, there's nothing that indicates who may have controlled our actions. There was something off about the way she was testifying. She was actually being a lot less vague than I was expecting. What was she doing? Cross-examination. Hi, Lucio! I was with my sisters and my guide, Eris Ilmater. She's been missing since the massacre happened. I really hope she's okay. Oh, make no mistake. She's definitely okay. What makes you so sure? Do you remember anything about what happened to her? No, but it's just a feeling. Oh, hell yeah.
Enough about that peasant. Tell us what happened next, Frege.
I was speaking with him in the garden, and I suddenly felt ill and lost consciousness.
If they were with you, shouldn't your sisters have noticed this? According to Leaf and Miriam, the pet dog was running amok in the hallways. They left the witness with Ilmater to chase him down. And when the sisters returned to the garden, both Beatrice and Ilmater were gone.
Do you remember anything about that? Anything after that? No. I really want to remember, but I can't. Can't.
Man, fuck you, Eris. Stop rewriting reality.
When I woke up, my sisters found me. They said that I had gone missing for over an hour.
And you have no memories of what happened?
No, not at all. I only imagine what I was forced to do while I was unconscious.
Forced? What do you mean by that?
I was confused, but when I later heard what happened, I realized that someone must have taken control of my body.
So, you're also saying that someone else controlled your body?
Yes, it's the only explanation for why you saw me in the prayer room.
Objection!
Absolutely ridiculous. You're clearly spinning a fairy tale to absolve yourself.
I had no reason to trust her, so why did I feel like something was wrong? Think what you will, but please believe me when I say. I have no memories of what happened, and from what I understand, the same thing happened to Arya.
Your statement does match up with what happened to my client. But you clearly already knew what happened to her. You could just be using that knowledge to fabricate an alibi.
Mr. Cuthbert, I know it doesn't mean much coming from me, but I am telling the truth.
That remains to be seen.
And to make matters worse, there's nothing that indicates who may have controlled our actions.
Why would you even bring that up?
Well, if you had evidence that someone else was controlling us, it would exonerate both me and Arya.
Oh.
That would be the best case scenario, wouldn't it?
What?
It's nothing.
Her brow furrowed and increased in frustration. These desks are very short. Like, I guess we'll have to see Celeste here when she like shows up next to us. If it extends there, but like it's really short. She just doesn't get to stand at the desk. The way she was testifying was a little bit strange. She immediately concluded that someone had taken control of her. And why did she bring up what happened to Arya? Nothing, you say. So much goddamn evidence.
Objection!
Why would she say something like that?
I found a contradiction, but she might as well have dropped it into my hands. Beatrice, you said there's no indication of who orchestrated this. But there is one piece of evidence that does just that, albeit loosely. And what would that be? This symbol. I pulled out the parchment that Arya gave me. It had the purple mark on it. Maranath? What are you doing? What's wrong? He's suppressing our connection. Connection? I can't actually see what you're trying to show me. Maranath, can you stop being petty and just let her see it? I don't take orders from you, Heavensborn. I wonder, Mr. Cuthbert, what is on that parchment? You see, Beatrice, Arya has been investigating a string of murders throughout Wyverngard. These murders appear to be unrelated, despite how gruesome they are. But they all share one thing in common. This symbol was found at each and every crime scene.
Objection!
Don't tell me my daughter has roped you into a little conspiracy theory. Your mind control defense would be laughable if it weren't downright insulting. Grand General, during the gap in Arya's memory, someone placed this mark in her pocket. It was clearly some sort of taunt from whoever orchestrated this. Nonsense. She clearly drew that symbol herself during her psychotic episode. I've had to listen to her go on and on about her insane theory. She was obsessed with it. Mr. Cuthbert, aren't you curious about what just happened? What are you talking about? Think about it. Why did... My apologies, I don't know why I said that. Her frustration was rising with each word she said. Is everything okay? Yes, I'm perfectly fine. Anyways, looks like you'll have to figure the rest out on your own. I'm trying to help you, I swear. I'm trying to help you. Eris is just a bitch-ass motherfucker. Figure out the rest on my own? Your Grace, these two are making a mockery of us by spouting these insane theories. Your defense clearly has no case. End this at once! Considering what I know, I'd like to indulge in this theory. The judge was finally giving me a chance for once. That was a first. Beatrice had been acting strangely since the trial began. It was suspicious, but not in a way that seems to implicate her. It's almost like she was intentionally trying to bring something to my attention. I decided to pull on this thread a little. She asked me if I was curious about what just happened, but every time I asked her to elaborate, she said nothing. What event was Beatrice referring to? Whatever she was trying to draw to my attention, it had to be significant in some way. Lucio denied the purple mark. Despite the evidence? No, Beatrice was trying to draw my attention to something. What just happened that was worth thinking about. Well, Mornath hid the purple mark from Beatrice. Maranath! He didn't allow Beatrice to see the purple mark. He'd only do that if Beatrice would recognize it normally. Why would Maranath interfere? Maranath is her familiar, and he used to follow her orders, but things have clearly changed now that she belongs to the Empress of Discord. So why would a demon like Maranath interfere like this? The mastermind has been hiding. No, there was a common thread here. First, Beatrice seemed to know about the purple mark that Arya had been investigating. Second, Maranoth is preventing Beatrice from seeing it, and he's a demon who wouldn't personally care about the politics of Wyverngard. Okay, the purple mark has been related to...
What if...
is related. Oh, a demon. The purple mark must be related to a demon somehow. That's the only explanation as to why he would prevent her from seeing the mark. But Arya had been investigating murders throughout Wyverngard. Did that mean that her investigation also had something to do with the demon? Arya suspected that each of the murderers in those cases was acting against their will. And in this case, both Arya and Beatrice were also claiming they were controlled. How could something demonic control Beatrice? I couldn't explain what happened to Arya and these other individuals. But I did know why Beatrice might not have full control of her actions. Beatrice? What? Lost control of actions. I recalled what was written in Beatrice's contract during her trial. It said what would happen if she failed to claim House Freyga. Her soul, her mind, and her life would all be claimed by the Empress of Discord. What does this tell us about Arya? If this Empress of Discord owned Beatrice's mind, would that mean that they could also control Beatrice against her will? But if that were true, the Mastermind...
What if...
killed a victim. No. Beatrice lost control of their mind. No, I potentially had an explanation for how Beatrice may have been controlled against her will. But if I followed that logic, it would reveal a grim conclusion for Arya. Oh, Arya created... No. Oh, Arya lost control of it. No, that couldn't be right, could it? Why would Arya do that? But it was the conclusion that made the most sense. I couldn't think of any other way someone could control her against her will. And there was one way to find out for certain. The Divine Edict. The same ability I used against Beatrice during her trial. I didn't fully comprehend it at the time, but now I had some understanding of how it worked. It created a copy of a blood contract between a contract holder and the demon who created it. But for it to work, I needed to know the name of the contract holder and the name of the demon who drafted it. Which demon did Arya make a blood contract with? Right now, I was relying on speculation. But going off of what I knew, the demon who made the contract must be...
What if...
the so-called Empress of Discord. She was mentioned in Beatrice's blood contract, but I still had no idea who or what she was. However, she was mentioned in a blood contract created by Maranoth. Was Maranoth her subordinate in some way? That might explain why Maranoth didn't want Beatrice to identify the purple mark. I wasn't sure if a pseudonym was enough, but it was the closest I could get with what I knew so far. You've been awfully quiet for a while, Mr. Cuthbert. He's probably imagining new ways to futilely stall for time. I think I finally figured out why the witness and the defendant can't remember anything. And it would also explain why they didn't have control of their actions.
Objection!
Again with this. If you're so convinced of my daughter's conspiracy, why don't you prove it? I knew it. You don't even you don't believe in the nonsense you're spouting. Lord Steelwind, I want to be wrong about this. If I'm right, the implications don't bode well for anyone involved. So instead of telling you, I think it would be better to show you. Empress of Discord, wherever you may hide.
She looks happy. It's about time. By the Eye of Horus, I issue upon you a divine edict. Release thy guards and manifest your blood contract with Arya Steelwind. The blood contract seems strange. Unlike Beatrice's contract, it's only one page. Even stranger, there's a large empty space at the top half of the page. There are only a few sentences at the bottom. For the intentions of this contract, the person who hands the contract to Arya Steelwind will be referred to as the patron. By signing this contract, Arya Steelwind surrenders her mind, body, and soul to the patron. This contract will bind Arya Steelwind to the patron for so long as they both live. It's signed with Arya's signature. No, this can't be true. This is... Enough! Stop prattling amongst yourselves.
Objection!
No, this is a sham. This wretch has used magic to create a convincing fabrication. It's genuine, Lucio. I can sense it. It's impossible to falsify something like this. You can't deny the truth anymore, Grand General. There is a way to control someone else's actions. And Arya Steelwind wasn't affected by Mage Blight. She was controlled against her will, and her memories were overwritten. With this evidence, there's no doubt that Arya did sign a blood contract, but it still doesn't make sense. I agree. Even if Arya was the type of person to make a deal with a demon, there isn't a single part of this contract that benefits her. Why would Arya sign this contract?
What if...
Maranoth helped the patron. No, maybe not Aranoth. Signed the contract because it looked like a normal document. There's a large empty space above the terms of your daughter's contract. When I issue a divine edict, it creates a copy of the blood contract that I call for. I think when she was given this contract, it probably looked like something else entirely. Something else was written in this empty space to make it look like a normal legal document. Which means that my client was not in control of her actions that day.
Objection!
Enough of this. All of you. Do you see now, Grand General? Your daughter was not responsible for what happened. That remains to be proven. What are you talking about? She has a blood contract that relinquishes control of her free will. Not having control and not being responsible are two very different things, Cuthbert. What? I'll admit, the defendant may not have had control of her actions when she murdered the victims. However, she did have full control of herself when she signed this contract. Are you serious? No one in their right mind would willingly sign a contract like this. And what of Beatrice Frege? Was she in her right mind when she made a contract with the demon Maranoth? That was an actual contract, though! If we can't hold the defendant responsible, surely we should also acquit Lady Frege for the murder of her father. That's hardly the same thing! I, for one, fail to see the difference. The fool made a deal with a demon, and as a result, several esteemed members of the nobility were killed. She's your daughter, Lucio! And how does that change anything? He seriously didn't care if he convicts Arya. What kind of father is he? Honestly, this only places more responsibility on her for what happened. I could have accepted if she had been reckless and accidentally induced Mage Blight. But to sign a contract with a demon! That only further exposes that
the need to put her down. She was clearly tricked, Lucio. Is that so? She's an attorney just like you. Would you really sign a contract without carefully inspecting it? Whether it was through foolishness, negligence, or both, the defendant willingly signed a blood contract. She compromised herself, and as a result, 3 people died, and many more were incapacitated. The responsibility falls squarely on her. Wait. Even if she willingly signed that contract, that wasn't entirely true. Who else was responsible for Arya's actions?
Maybe.
Lucio, there's clearly someone else to blame for Arya's actions that day. Oh, and who would that be? I'd like to reread my client's blood contract to the court. By signing this contract, Arya Steelwind surrenders her mind, body, and soul to the patron. That can only mean one thing. Whoever this patron is, they took control of my client and used her to murder the victims.
That's right. They could still be out there. None of us is safe until this patron is apprehended.
Surely we can't end this trial while every member of the Wyvern Guard nobility is in danger. I'm compelled to agree with Mr. Cuthbert. Trickery or not, it's clear someone wished ill intent. Oh. And until we know who this patron is, you can't pass judgment on my client. Not until we know the circumstances under which she signed that blood contract. And what would you have us do, Cuthbert? The contract has no stipulations about proximity or how this mind control works. For all we know, this patron could have murdered the victim all while sitting in their very home. There was a clear intent behind this attack. Even if the patron didn't directly participate in the murders, they definitely had a motive. If Arya was being controlled, then we can analyze her behavior to determine who was controlling her. I see. Despite the questions raised, we've clearly made some headway. I believe we should take a brief recess to process these revelations. Very well. Oh. Okay, I guess we're ending this part here. That was fast. Okay. We'll continue the trial next time, I guess. we'll figure out what the fuck's going on. What the friggity frackety fuck. Who this person is, who this patron is. See you all next time. Bye bye!